You're sitting alone right now, maybe in a room, maybe with your phone in your hand, and somewhere underneath the scrolling there's a quiet ache you can't quite name. You call it loneliness, but the real answer is far stranger. That ache isn't a flaw in you. It isn't proof that something is wrong with your personality, your looks, your worth. It's a signal, an old one, older than language, older than fire, older than the idea of a house with a locked door. And once you understand what it was built for, you'll never feel it the same way again. Go back 200,000 years. Your ancestors didn't live in cities. They lived in small bands, 30 or 40 people, moving together across open land. Everyone knew everyone. Everyone worked, ate, and slept within shouting distance of everyone else. Why? Because outside that circle was death. A lone human on the savannah was not a survivor story. It was a meal. No claws, no fangs, no fur thick enough for a cold night. Just soft skin and slow legs. The only real weapon your ancestors had was each other. Numbers meant eyes watching every direction. Numbers meant someone to help carry the injured. Numbers meant survival. So evolution did something clever. It built an alarm, not a metaphorical one, a real physiological one, wired directly into the nervous system. When you drifted too far from the group, your body didn't just notice, it suffered. It produced the exact same kind of internal alert as hunger or thirst, a pain that says, fix this now, or you will not make it. That pain is what you're feeling when you feel lonely. The psychologist John Cacioppo spent decades studying this signal, and he described loneliness as functioning almost exactly like physical pain. Pain tells you to move your hand off a hot stove. Loneliness tells you to move yourself back toward people. Neither feeling exists to make you suffer for no reason. Both exist to keep you alive. Here's where it gets stranger. In the 1950s, a researcher named Harry Harlow ran a series of experiments with infant monkeys, isolating some of them from social contact. What he found was disturbing. The isolated monkeys didn't just feel bad. Their brains changed. Their behavior changed. Some rocked in place for hours. Some couldn't figure out how to interact with other monkeys even when they were finally allowed to. Isolation didn't just hurt them emotionally, it altered the machinery underneath. Human isolation works the same way, just slower and quieter. Decades later, researcher Julianne Holt-Lunstad analyzed data from over 300,000 people and found something the medical world didn't want to hear. Chronic loneliness raises your risk of early death by roughly the same margin as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Not stress, not sadness, isolation itself. Your body is still keeping the old rules. It still believes that being cut off from the group is a 5-alarm emergency, even if the group now just means opening an app and seeing nobody's replied. But here's the twist nobody talks about. Loneliness doesn't just punish you, it changes you, and not always for the worse. When researchers study people experiencing loneliness, they find something unexpected happening underneath the pain. Lonely brains become hypervigilant. They start scanning faces faster. They pick up on tone of voice more precisely. They notice social rejection cues that a well-connected brain would completely miss. Sleep gets lighter, more easily interrupted. The same shift you'd expect in an animal that has to keep half an ear open for danger through the night. Why would evolution build that? Because a lone human in the ancient world wasn't just sad, they were vulnerable. And a vulnerable human needed sharper senses, not duller ones. The isolated members of an ancient band couldn't afford to relax. They needed to notice a predator in the grass, a shift in the wind, a stranger's approach, faster than anyone tucked safely inside the group. So the brain, in its own brutal logic, traded comfort for awareness. Loneliness turned you into a more alert, more perceptive version of yourself. A temporary upgrade built for temporary danger. It was never meant to be permanent. That's the part your ancestors had that you don't. An ending. Their loneliness was a short, sharp signal that got resolved. You wandered off from the band, the alarm went off, you found your way back, the alarm switched off. Days, maybe weeks, never years, boo. Now imagine carrying that hypervigilant, sleep-disrupted, hyper-alert state for months, for years. That's what modern chronic loneliness actually is. An ancient short-term survival tool, stuck in the on position, with no band to return to and switch it off. And this is where your phone comes in. Every notification, every like, every message promises your nervous system the thing it's been begging for. Proof that the band is still there, that you're still counted, that you haven't been left behind in the grass. For a second, the alarm quiets. Then it fires again, because scrolling a feed isn't the same as sitting by a fire with people who know your name. The signal was built for physical presence. It doesn't fully accept a substitute. This is why you can be surrounded by hundreds of online connections and still feel the ancient ache. The body isn't counting followers, it's asking a much older question. Who would notice if I disappeared tonight? Who would come looking? Understanding this doesn't erase the pain, but it changes what you do with it. Loneliness isn't a verdict on your character. It's not proof you're unlikable or broken or destined to be alone. It's a 200,000-year-old alarm system doing exactly what it was built to do, telling you in the only language it has that you are a social animal who has drifted farther from other people than your biology was ever designed to tolerate. The lonely hunter-gatherer who felt that same ache didn't sit with it. They walked back toward the fire. That was the entire point of the signal, not to be endured, but to be acted on. So what do you do with an alarm built for a world of 40 familiar faces ringing inside a world of 8 billion strangers? You do what it was always asking you to do, not chase more notifications, not collect more followers. Find the fire. Find the few people who would actually notice if you vanished, and move toward them, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it would be easier to just keep scrolling. Because somewhere underneath the ache, your nervous system already knows something modern life keeps letting you forget. You were never built to survive alone. You were built to be missed. You're sitting alone right now, maybe with your phone in your hand, and somewhere underneath the scrolling there's a quiet ache you can't quite name. Only now you know exactly what it is, and exactly what it's been trying to tell you all along.